and how to become better in whatever. And our focus today is on starting a business. Last session, we spoke on, or the speaker spoke on specialization and how it limits innovations, and how socialization helps, how it's good to network, and it was a plethora of information, and so it's very insightful. Today we're having another guest. Can we have that slide up, please? All right. Mr. Baridakara Bryce, MN, a business strategist with a mandate to help 1,000 business owners define the direction and strategic plan for their businesses within the next 5 years. He runs a consulting firm, Brimars Consulting Limited, where they help businesses thrive by developing the right strategies and systems for growth. He is currently building Founders School, the one-stop school that equips founders, business owners, and CEOs with all the knowledge they need to build and grow a startup or business. Together with his friend, Africa's landlord, Bright runs Colors Media. Colors Media is focused on helping businesses and high-value individuals package the value of the bear and project it to the world and to the right persons who need to see it, especially through video content. Bright consults for businesses who need professionals to give insight into different areas of their businesses and help execute the strategies or clarity they bring. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Mr. Baridakara.
Okay, hi, good evening, everybody. I hope I'm not mandated to show my face. Am I?
It would be best if we can see you.
Okay. It's not clear. I'm still in the vehicle, and where I am is not so clear. So I'll just leave it.
All right, that's fine. No problem.
Okay. So thank you very much for having me here today. I do hope that the session we will have here would be beautiful. Can we just put out that particular slide again, so we can have that as a cover for the session, since I'm not showing my face.
All right.
Okay. So we'll quickly dive deep in starting a business building 101. I don't know if every other person are on this live is allowed to converse during the session, because I love to ask questions. I love to get feedback from people, so I know that I'm being understood. So
I'll provide the necessary feedback.
Okay, we'll start with the basics. Starting a business, right? What is business? So let's first define the norm, and then we'll bring it back to home. So in today's world, or by a lot of persons' understanding, a business is anything that gives money. That's by today's law. And you hear people every time say, I am going into business, I want to start a business. Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, so you hear people say that they are going into business, they want to start a business, and for a lot of them, they tell you my business is I'm having issues with my business. And most times when you look at what the business is, it's always one skill or the order that they have. So I sell shoes, and the next thing I say is that I am running a business or I own a business or this is my business. I write codes. I probably do designs for people. And the next thing I'm saying is that what business do you do? I'm a graphic designer. That's the issue we have today's world. So when people ask, you're not being asked, what business do you do? The first thing that comes to their mind is I'm a graphic designer, which isn't telling us what business you do, right? You run this. This is what we are into. And so what we'll do today is to create the right clarity to what business should be and how business should be built. Like the topic says, business building 101. So we're going to create the right clarity to what business should be and how businesses should be built. Let's start from that part. So first things first, what is a business? A business is any entity that makes you money. Yeah, any entity that makes you money or sells value for money. So any entity that engages in an activity that brings money to the pocket of the business or yourself. Now, it's important that we take note of two things. I should be ending by okay. It's important that we take note of two things, which is one is that a business should make you money. So there is a subject and there is an action. A business is an entity, right? It's first an entity that would engage in activities to make you money. The action, entity subject, activities for money making action. So if we begin to look at business from this perspective, it does a lot to how we attend to our businesses. It does a lot to how we grow our businesses. It does a lot to how we build our businesses. Because I would explain, you'd see how that impacts business building later. But then let's look at the two key subject, entity and money making activities. So now, just as you give birth to children, same way you birth businesses. So that this is supposed to be in the ideal world. And what I want to do today is to be able to correct our minds to see things from an ideal perspective, not just from our reality, from an ideal perspective, so that we can guide our lives, our real lives towards our ideal perspective. So in an ideal world, just as you birth children, same way you're supposed to birth businesses. What do I mean? If at childbirth, the child is totally dependent on you. In fact, before inception of the child, before birth, the child is in you, and the child probably, by some specification, is you. By some making also, the child isn't you. What that means is that by Nigerian law, the child that is unborn has a right to life. So it is still being identified as a child, as an individual, and it's still being identified as a life because it is within you. You do not hold the autonomous power to take the life of that child. Same way with businesses. From its inception, it should be seen as a separate identity, right? It should have a separate identity. It should either be male or female. I'm trying to use that understanding, that explanation to give it. It should either be male or female. It should either be a boy or a girl. It should either be um 5 foot tall or 5 kg with heavy, those kind of stuff. It should have its own specifications. It should be it, right? Separate from you, the owner. Yes, you're giving birth to that business. Yes, you own the business. Yes, you're birthing the business. But from inception, you should start seeing your business as something that is separate from you. It means that same way you have no right to terminate the life, you have no autonomous power to terminate the life of of an unborn child. You have no autonomous power to terminate the life of a business. It's very serious like that. Yeah, it's very serious. Now, let's take it further. So, this child is born. At that birth stage, the child is almost totally dependent. From inception, it's totally dependent on you. You feed it. In fact, till it gets to a year, it feeds from your breast milk. It feeds from what you have within you, not just what you can bring, what you have within you. So it feeds off you, literally. At birth, some of the feeding processes stops, but you still have to nurture it. For it to move, you have to move with it. For it to speak, you have to speak to it first, right? For the child to respond, you have to pay keen attention to it. Same way it is replicated in businesses. Now, the important thing here is that even at that childish age, where you have to make decisions for it and have to do everything for it, it is still an entity. At that point, its rights are restricted, though, but it is still an entity. It remains a being. You do not have the right to kill it. You do not have the right to prevent it from going to school, getting an education. At some point, you do not even have the right to prevent it from voting or get voted for. At some point, you do not have the right to make decisions for it, except it is incapacitated. Now, let's take these ideologies or this idea of what childbirthing is into business. Now, we've explained and we've established that business is an entity. When we say that business is an entity, we are saying it is like a child. So, it's at inception, it feeds off you. It is not making anything. It is not bringing anything to the table. It is feeding. It is draining you, right? At inception, it is taking everything from you. At birth, it begins to take things, but little by little, it begins to grow, right? So it's born now. You started the business. You're still nurturing it. You're still giving it all the attention. But because you still remember, you have to still remember that that business is on its own. So what our parents used to do then is that, as children, you're giving gifts as a child, and they collect the money from you. Smart parents, they save the money. Some parents, because they are using the money to feed you, they use the money. But now, which is sometimes permissive. But then the ideology is that because they know that this, they don't come and say it's my money. They gave me money. They say they gave my daughter money, but they collect it. Same way, you must start understanding that this business is on its own. It has its own clothes. It has its own money. It has its own house. It has its own structure. It is separate from you. Now, this is the first ideology that makes business building good or bad. The moment you miss this particular clarity, you struggle to build a great business, right? Because you would tie everything around the business to yourself, and tying everything around the business to yourself limits the growth of the business. So let's move further. The second part of the definition of what a business is the activity, the business activity. So an entity is designed, is built. The idea of what business is that you build an entity to go make money for you, right? You build an entity to go make money for you. You're part of that entity. So it's like you're building, how do I explain this? You're building a car to help you move from Port Harcourt to Lagos, right? But for the car to start moving, you have to be inside the car. You cannot be outside and the car will not move you, right? You have to be inside the car for the car to move from Lagos to Port Harcourt. So when the car gets to Lagos, it has benefited both itself and you because it has moved. You have also moved. So that's what business looks like, right? You're building it to make money for you. Now, the whole things that we normally describe as business is now what is called business activity. What do I mean? You have a business that makes clothes for pregnant women in exchange for money, which is basically its activity. The business is maybe favored ventures, right? Or YouLead Enterprises. That's the business, YouLead Enterprises. And you own the business as you're the owner of YouLead Enterprises. You're the CEO. You're employed by the business to work. You're the person that knows how to make the clothes, right? But in perspective of what business is, the business is making the clothes. How is it making the clothes? Through the people that are in it. When we go on to talk about what are the things to look at while building businesses, you'd see how this thing's playing. It is making the clothes through the people that are in it. Why are those people? You're number one. You understand? So the business is designed to convey a particular activity that creates or makes money for it in such a way, so much that it can pay you off and at some point gain total autonomy over its life and existence. So a business can go to the point where it can sack you, take you out of the business, and still exist. I hope I'm being followed. I hope
Yes.
everybody here is getting. Okay, so that's very important. It's very important that you understand these two things. That a business is an entity and it is made to make money. Yes, it is made to create value and give up that value for profits. There are cases where I like to call businesses both profit making and not profit making. The activities within that same business that are not for direct profit, but they would still bring profit. Now, because we don't see business as entities, most of the times we don't do the ones that are not for direct profit. Because when we see businesses as our own or as us or as the activity, not the entity, we start to try to trick it to only be for our benefits. I would explain further as we're going further. So now I will look at why is it important to build businesses. Now, beyond the basic importance, which is for our own livelihood, the owner's livelihood, and all of that basic thing, and maybe sometimes for legacy purposes and the rest of them, there are other important reasons why business building is important to your society. Now, before coming on live, I stated something on my status. I said that um till you start seeing you start seeing the impact your business has on your society, you're not into build great businesses. The reason is because there are a lot of importance that your business plays on any socioeconomic space that it operates in. There are a lot of importance that your business plays on any socioeconomic space that you're plays in. You might not see it because it is so small, but there's an important, especially when it is built rightly, there is a role it plays. I would cite a few of them, and then we'll go on to now look at how you can now properly build a business. So the first one is that, which is the generalization, is that your business plays a very important socio-economic role. It causes socio-economic development. Let's look at the first one: culture shaping. So your business shapes culture, right? Um, there was a time when, even till today, my mom still says it. My mom tells you that breakfast is the most important food of the day. And a lot of parents will tell you that, like for us that are a lot of times lazy eaters and we don't even, we are lazy sleepers, we sleep too much. My morning is my sleeping time. So before I stand up from the bed, probably it's 10 o'clock, or before I wake up, it's 10 o'clock. And then when I wake up, I'll start pressing my phone till like 11, 12, most times 5. And my mom will always shout that breakfast is the most important food. She doesn't know what I'm doing to myself because I'm not eating in the morning. Now, that ideology was shaped by, I've forgotten the business. I don't know that it's KFC or one of these old brands, one of these old food brands in the US. They came up with a campaign that drove the idea of breakfast being important to the body. It's not like it's not good to eat breakfast or it's healthy not to eat breakfast. But then, why is it so driven? Why is it so important that people take breakfast so much? And the most important meal actually is not even breakfast. I think it's lunch. But people take breakfast so much, so important that um they are so hell bent on me. I just eat breakfast. Me, I don't eat for the whole day. The reason is because somebody drove a culture, caused a cultural shift, or a culture shock with some kind of campaign that it drove. What caused it? A business, right? There are more. We've seen innovation happen over time, right? We had a time when it was farming. We had a time when the industrial age came. Industrial age was driven by business. Technology was driven by businesses, right? Um, Artificial intelligence is still being driven by business. Automation and ease is driven. This is our culture, our cultural shocks. And they are all driven by businesses, not by governments, right? Governments only endorse at some point where the cultures are beginning to set in totally. But they do not shape them. They do not start the process. They do not drive it, right? Cultures are driven by businesses. These businesses take on strategic positions within this goal process and drive it. When they drive it to the point that it creates a shift in the culture in different societies. These are important. This is one important role that businesses play in societies that people do not take note of. Secondly, is that um, businesses influence socioeconomic, social development. Let's take from that angle. So Ajib has what they call the community. Is he forgotten to social responsibility? Is it CSRO project? I'm trying to remember the full name now. Is it community social responsibility or something like that? That they play, that they have to fulfill to the communities where are the societies where they are located, they are situated. It's not just in Nigeria, it happens everywhere. They provide schools, churches, drinking water. Today, in my house, I don't drink sachet water. I get water from Shell. Why am I able to get water from Shell? Because Shell has a CSR project that they did years ago that provided water to the locality where I am. So I just drive when I'm exhausted and then go and get water and come back home. That's the water I drink. So imagine if they did not have that kind of arrangement. And when I go there, I see crowd. It's clean water. It would have been an issue. So um, businesses have a very important role to play in social development. Schools, provision of amenities, empowering social groups. So things like let's do a skill acquisition program, let's do a graduate graduate training program, right? For to bring in people, let's give employment to the youth in this community, let's create these job opportunities. Those are total social development projects that businesses do. If the government is there to do it, we know the nation we are. 90% of the social development that has happened in Nigeria are driven most times 70% by business, right? They are driven 70%. These businesses start driving government support a lot of times. That's the reason, and it's the same case with bigger economies, right? Businesses drive social development. Let's look at economic impact. Businesses drive economic. This one is a no-brainer, right? And there's something called the gross domestic product. It shows the how will I put it, the value of production that happens within the state, right? Domestically, the value of production happens domestically within the state. This is only a fraction of macroeconomics when it comes to nation building, right? Economies in nations, international economies, and all of that. And businesses drive GDPs because a lot of times government feel like this. What is our government producing? I can't remember the figure, but I know I last saw the GDP for Nigeria, and a larger percentage of it, apart from the fact that we lie to ourselves that oil bring higher GDPs, a larger percentage even of these oils were provided by exploration companies that are situated in Nigeria, businesses. So you see that if businesses are built rightly, production happens domestically. If production happens domestically, GDP increases. If GDP increases, our economies increase. If GDP increases and exports increases, our inflation rate decreases, right? If production increases, inflation of products, like demand of products, reduces, right? Because there's more supply to meet demand, so it will cost reduction. If money is being circulated properly by businesses located in a particular locality, the economies of that state, of that locality, is improved. This is one of the most important roles that businesses play to grow for in their localities. This is beyond the business owner now. So you see why I say that a business is an entity. It's a citizen in a particular locality, right? It's a citizen in a particular locality, and you must pay attention to that. Okay, let's move faster. So I would cite every other thing later. So let's move on. Now, what do you consider while building a business? The first one is, so I like to call it conceptualization. You look at your idea. What problem is your business trying to solve, right? Within the business activity, what problem is your business trying to solve? What is it directly trying to solve? And what is the solution? That's a simple math to carry out. The second thing is to look at, I call it the 4 Ws: what, where, who, why. So what problem are you trying to solve, or what is the business activity? What is the business doing to make money? Where are you locating these people that need this thing, right? What product are you selling? Where are they found, right? Who are the people that need this product, right? Why are you selling this product to? Why are you selling this product? These are important areas in idea creation. So the next thing to consider is your target market. You need to consider who has the problem you're trying to solve, right? Why does the problem exist in the first place? People just end it at who has the problem you're trying to solve. They do not consider why it exists, because why it exists is the driver for how you can create a marketing strategy that ensures that supply happens well, right? If you understand why a problem exists, you can solve it properly. For instance, let's say your business, for instance, the pregnancy dresses for pregnant women. Why is there a problem? What problem are you trying to solve with that kind of dress? You're saying that women that are pregnant always have extra sizes, and most of these fitted dresses are an issue for them. They need free clothes, so we want to make free clothes for them. Why does that exist? Right? Why is that problem actually existing? Why did they need free clothes? Because of heat. So you might make free clothes and it's not still suitable for them, because you gotta make clothes with a lot of cottons. And when there are a lot of cottons, they don't feel 3 more minutes. I thought I was given 35 minutes to speak. Okay, no problem. So they don't get the clothes is probably made of wool, and then it's still not fitted, heat and everything. They still feel itchy. You have not solved the problem. You have only compounded it. You have tried to solve, but you have not compounded. You have only compounded. So it's important to also consider why that problem exists. So you solve the why, then you solve the problem, right? You solve the why, then you solve the problem. Now, it's all of those things encompasses how you drive out marketing. So beyond that, you also need to look at your solution. Now you know the problem, right? You know who you're targeting. The next thing is to consider production. So in your solution, most times solutions are either product or services. So let's look at products, because this is where the work is. You want to make a product, right? You want to make a product for your clients. Let's use the pregnant women. You need to now start consider uniqueness. So within your solution, you're considering, right, how would production happen? Am I going to use machines to make this? Am I going to source this product outside? Am I going to get it from the market? What am I doing to get this product? Am I producing it internally, or am I what do you call it, outsourcing production and then collecting? So you need to consider that. You need to consider cost of production. What is the cost of doing this internally? What is the cost of outsourcing? Which serves me better, right? You need to consider mechanization and technology within your production strategy. You need to look at what technologies work better, what technologies can make my production process efficient enough, because it is important in driving growth in businesses. For instance, if your target market or your market cap, let's use target market, because we'll look at marketing later, has a chain, or you're targeting about you want to grow the business. If growth will happen, growth looks at numbers. So let's say you started out with 100 pregnant women for sales. As you increase, you'll probably be getting demand will increase, and you're probably getting 1,000, you're probably getting 10,000. If you don't have the technology to drive 10,000 products within a week, maybe according to demand, then it means that that business is not scalable. It means that you cannot properly build a business that actually impacts properly to the GDP of the nation. You can't grow the business to a point where it can play macroeconomics, and that's an issue. So let's look beyond that. The next thing is to look at marketing and sales. In marketing and sales, one place to look at is supply chain management. So beyond demand, right? Supply to meet demand, right? How well can you supply to meet demand? And how do you want to carry this out? Do you want to do this via distributors? Do you want to do this directly to the customers? What is the barrier that breaks? What is the barrier between you and your customers? Why is it important that you have a middleman within? Can you do this without a middleman? Can you scale this? It's also important to look at that. Can you scale this without a middleman? Because, for instance, if most of the companies that have distributors in marketplaces, the reason why they have that is that to drive the product, they're not looking at a niche market. To drive the product to the large number, for instance, people that make Gino and Corey and the rest of them, drive the product to every family, they have to have distributors at every location. If they have to put out stands and directly deal with these customers, it will be an issue for supply, right? Because cost will increase. If cost increase, the cost of the product increases, and it impacts how much they can make from the business. Don't forget, you're in to make profit. And if cost is increased, profit is reduced, right? And those are issues. Now, the next thing to consider after supply chain and markets, probably market capitalization, which I will not talk about today, is people and structure, people structural management. This is where I want to round up. So, people, Which kind of people do you need in your business? A lot of times, when you start seeing business as an entity, you start looking beyond yourself. You cannot make products for 1,000 persons. You want growth, but you're stuck to having yourself alone in the business. You're stuck to having 100% of the business. You're stuck to making all the profit without giving out any. Then you're beginning to have issues for growth. So, who do you need in your business? What kind of partnerships? When you think people, you need to think partnerships. You need to think employees, partnerships, employees, stakeholders. Who are these people, right? Where can you find them? How can you get to them? How can you get them in, right? So you need to start looking at your production process to meet the demand that is in the market. If there is a demand, if there is none, the demand you want to create in the market or the kind of revenue you're targeting for the year, how many products do you need? What is the capacity of your production system right now? How can you increase the production system to suit that demand? So let's say that 10 people in your production system can deliver 100 products in a week, and you need to reach a demand of 1,000 products in a week. How well can you drive, right? Can you drive growth within your production system that you can get 100 people on that team to reach the 1,000 goal? That's how you look at this people system. So you need to now look at how many people you need in your production system to ensure that you reach your goal. How many people do you need in your sales system to ensure that you reach your goal? How many people do you need in your in your marketing system to ensure you reach your goal? How many people do you need in your management, in branding, in everything to ensure you reach your goal? Who are you partnering with, right, to ensure you reach your goal? Finally, you need to look at, and this is final. I'll not talk a lot about system today, but most importantly, you need to look at record keeping and feedbacks. A lot of business struggles with keeping records and getting feedback for their businesses. And it's an issue for growth because, for instance, you can't tell how well you've grown if there are no records to look at. You can't tell what you need to do to improve your business if there are no records to look at. So you need to start paying attention to your sales record. You need to start paying attention to your people record, getting feedback from this record, insights from this record. So you need to get insights and feedbacks from your people, that are your customers, your distributors, if you have a distributor chain, your clients, if you have client chain, your staffs, your partners. You need to start getting feedbacks from all these areas because they influence how the business can grow to the point where it can operate without you. That's the goal. Or it can operate without you. It can become an entity that can even sack you and thrive without your interference. Because don't forget, the business is not just about your own benefit. It's about the benefit of your society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry your session got cut short. We're having technical issues and our time is running really, really, really short. Well, we hope we gain a lot of insights from this. And for those of us who are going to be watching this later, Mr. Bright is hosting a proposal writing class. And from the way he's speaking, you know that there's a lot of value, there's going to be a lot of value in that class. And YouLead Port Harcourt community is sponsoring 3 people. So the first 3 people to indicate interest for that class, we will be sponsoring you to attend and know how to write and ace a proposal. This webinar series is hosted by the YouLead Port Harcourt community, and this is the 4th episode. Next week, we're going to be having Mr. Charles Boyitier, who is going to be speaking on the investor mindset. Okay, and that, just like this one and the previous episode, is going to be packed with a lot of value, a lot of insight on how to be an investor or the things you need to get into that mindset of an investor. Also, YouLead is hosting Shared Moments. We're having this project next Saturday. On Saturday, YouLead and the child will be visiting the child special school and we'll be having a lot of fun with them. If you're in Port Harcourt, you're welcome to join us. And if you're not and you'd like to be part of it, we'll really appreciate your donations. If you're watching this on YouTube, please click on the button at the bottom left corner, to watch a replay of previous episodes 1, 2, 3, including this one as well if you want to. And also to register, please use the link bit.ly, that's bit.ly/WYNTK-episodes to watch the episodes that has been posted already. Thank you very much, Mr. Bright. Once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing these insights with us. Thank you for finding time to do this with us. We really appreciate you. And we hope that would have reason to have meetings like this and have sessions like this in the future. Until next week,